He had a police complaint rap sheet a mile long. The department kept him on as a cop anyway. He ends up killing an innocent man in cold blood and costing his city $10 million. The jury declares him guilty, and he still thinks he's innocent. Why? Because the police department trained him to do what he did. Man, how many times do we have to hear that another cop ended another life for a non-emergency call? And then when they're convicted, when the cop is convicted, they don't take personal responsibility for their own heinous actions. And this is the story of former officer Adam Coy. And another thing that we always hear about is that the police department kept a cop on the force, exposed the community he's supposed to be protecting and serving after receiving multiple reports of aggressive behavior and gross abuse of power. This guy had 90 community complaints against him, ranging from back when he first joined the force. This guy was he was a veteran for 19 years, a veteran police officer for 19 years. You would think that he would have his Shiite together, but he didn't. 90 complaints, over a dozen of them stuck as legitimate, stayed in his file from back in 2012. 10 years later, less than 10 years later, he kills a guy in his garage because Adam Coy feared for his life, and yet he still doesn't take personal responsibility. So we're going to go over what he said after the jury declared him to be guilty. And he says that everything that he did, he learned from his police training. And I believe that. I believe that. And I also believe that he's personally responsible for his own actions. Check this out.
My entire life, I wanted to serve. In my junior year of high school, I signed a 5-year contract with the United States Army. Then 2 days after graduation, I reported to Fort McClellan, Alabama, for training in the Military Police Corps. I served both stateside and overseas, rising to the rank of sergeant, receiving numerous medals and ribbons performing my duty.
Did you get any IDF training, Adam? This guy's painting himself. I'm just a servant. I've always had a servant heart. I'm a public servant. I joined the military so that I could serve. After that, I joined the police force. I just wanted to serve. That's all I wanted to do, is just serve. Look at me as a servant.
After being honorably discharged, I returned to Ohio seeking a career in law enforcement, first as a deputy and then as a police officer, again receiving ribbons and medals for my service.
Look, I got awards. I got ribbons and medals. I got ribbons and medals in the military for killing people. I got ribbons and medals from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Maybe how many people are sitting in prison right now because he declared them to be drunk when they were actually sober? I want to know that. I mean, did they look in this guy's file and find out how many people's lives were ruined in the wake of his tyranny? Probably not.
For nearly 2.5 decades, I responded to thousands of runs where it was my job to establish order from whatever chaos prompted the call. I was trained and conditioned multiple times each and every year. I also paid for and attended additional non-mandatory training on my own through the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy. In those trainings, I was taught to respond to a threat without hesitation.
Peace Officer Training Academy. Just think about this. I'm a peace officer who's waging war on the public, but it's under the color of law and in the name of law and order, so it's okay. Remember, the call that he was on that night when he fatally shot Andre Hill, a 47-year-old father, was just that they got a report of a vehicle repeatedly being turned on and off. That was it. It wasn't a bank robbery situation. It wasn't a break-in situation. It wasn't a mass shooting situation. But these cops, they come in with hot heads, fragile egos, and guns blazing.
Because action beats reaction. On the night in question, I did just that. I saw what I believed was a silver snub-nosed revolver rising up to me. I yelled, "Gun!" "He has a gun," to my partner, so she knew what I saw as we are trained. And I reacted the same way I had in hundreds of training scenarios. I drew and fired my weapon to stop a threat, to protect myself and my partner.
Again, I don't doubt that, because we've heard time and time again, hey, the number one goal of every law enforcement agent is we go home safe at the end of our shift. Come hell or high water, doesn't matter what pet we have to eliminate, doesn't matter what door we have to kick in, it doesn't matter what tyrannical step we have to take, we are going home safe. And we hear all the time about how scared they are. Hey, if you're this scared, when pizza delivery drivers who have a far more dangerous job than you do are not even that scared, then it might not be a good idea for us to give you a badge and a gun.
I believe in the law. That is why I dedicated my entire adult life to it. I feel my actions were justified and within the reasonable officer condition and the standard as set forth by case law. I disagree with the jury's decision because I believe they did not understand the response a police officer is trained to perform as it relates to the Ohio Revised Code.
Again, let me just reiterate, he cannot abdicate his own personal responsibility. He is an adult. He can't just say, I was doing my job. This is the way that I was trained. You can't wiggle out of it like that. But at the same time, I do not doubt, and we have seen, again, many times in the past, where this is their training. Sometimes they'll go to Israel to get IDF training and bring those vicious training practices back to American soil. These people are trained to treat their own life as above yours. It doesn't matter what call they go on. It doesn't matter if it's a welfare check or a mass shooting. They're not there to ensure your safety. They're there to ensure theirs. And if it costs you your life in the process, well, so be it. Just stay tuned, though, for a comment from the Fraternal Order of Police.
Law, and they were confused by the jury instructions they received and deliberated by. So because of that, I will be appealing the ruling, not just for myself, but for everyone in the law enforcement community, doing a complicated, dangerous, ever-changing job in a world of policing.
Yeah, I should have been acquitted like Philip Brailsford was when he blew away Daniel Shaver in the hallway of that hotel.
This decision in this case has far-reaching effects on the police departments of this great nation. With that said, I would like to thank my family for their support with my long battle with cancer that coincided with this process, of which I am still recovering and continued treatment. And additionally, I would like to express my overwhelming gratitude to my friends, brothers and sisters wearing the badge for their continued support and encouragement to stay strong and have faith in our judicial system. This case and my actions have affected both sides of this courtroom. It weighs on me heavily that a family lost a loved one. My heart goes out to them. Thank you all for listening to me today, and your mindful consideration is deeply appreciated.
Again, he was a 19-year veteran of the Columbus Police Department. He had a history of over 90 community member complaints, with about a dozen deemed valid, including a 2012 incident where he used excessive force by slamming a suspect's head against a police car hood. And the Columbus Police Department was like, yeah, he's a ticking time bomb, but go ahead and throw him out in the community anyway. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. He was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. He maintains his actions were justified, plans to appeal, and his defense argues the prosecution withheld expert testimony that supported his actions. The Fraternal Order of Police called the shooting a heart-rending mistake, but not murder. He intends to appeal the decision, and guess what? He probably will get a lesser sentence, or they'll just let him free on probation. This whole incident led to something called Andre's Law, where the police are required to wear their body cams and have them activated during any kind of interaction, because this guy was always turning his body cam off, and the city settled for $10 million because of the actions of this tyrant. So let me know in the comment section. Do you feel sorry for Adam Coy? Do you think he got a bad rap? Should the jury have not declared him guilty? Do you think the Fraternal Order of Police is going to step in and with that thin blue line of protection get him out of jail? Do you think even if he does go to jail, they'll put him in general population? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, the links are in the description. But understand, the price of freedom is now and will always be eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. And believe me, there are oppressors out there who want to oppress you under the color of law. I will see you in the next video.